What's up guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel where we talk about tech topics. As I alluded to in last week's video, this week we'll be talking about how you can maximize saving your sweet salary. Now if you're not following me yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you can be notified in the future every time I upload a new video. So the goal of this video is to help you guys save as much money as possible from your salary. And the best way to do that is through a tax advantage account. Last week I went over the 401k, which is arguably the biggest tax advantage account that the government provides for us. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, go ahead and check it out. I will put the link down in the description below. Of course, in this video, I'll be talking about more tax advantage accounts than just the 401k. If you guys want to learn more about them than what I go over in this video specifically, then I'll put some links down below so you guys can read up more on them too. So very quickly, what is a tax advantage account? A tax advantage account is exactly what it sounds like. It's where by putting money in this account, you're able to save some money on the taxes that you would normally pay for that money. Like I mentioned in my 401k video, a 401k is tax advantage because it either allows you to save money on your taxes when you're putting money in or save money on your taxes when you're taking the money out. If you think about it, 20 to 30% of your salary will go to either the federal government or the state government or the combination of the two. So any money that you can save on taxes will add up really quickly. So the first thing that you should do with your money is you should contribute to your 401k, but only up until your company match. So what this means is if your company will match, say, up to $6,000 of your salary, contribute up to $6,000 first. And the reason for doing this is because the 401k is tax advantage, which means that you're either saving money on taxes when it goes in or when it comes out, depending on whether you choose a traditional 401k or a Roth 401k or a combination of the both. But more importantly, by contributing up to the company match to maximize the company match, you're essentially guaranteeing a 100% return on your money. Step 2, and this is where our second tax advantage account comes in, is to invest in your HSA. And what the HSA is basically a health savings account. A health savings account is basically an account where you can put money in and you can spend that money on any medical related costs for you or either your dependents. Now for the money in the HSA, you can spend just like a regular investment account. You can invest in funds, you can invest in stocks and stuff. So you can treat it just like a 401k. The only difference is that when you spend the money before 65, you'll have to spend the money on medical related costs. If you hit the genetic lottery and you don't need the money for medical expenses and none of your dependents do either, then at 65, you can take that money out and spend it for non-medical costs. Now remember what I said about the 401k, where money would either go in pre-tax or post-tax, and then your earnings will either come out taxed or not taxed, depending on what kind of 401k you chose. Well, the HSA sort of combines the best of both worlds. So for the HSA, money would go in pre-tax, and then when you spend the money on medical related expenses, you would not be taxed on it at all. This is like a double tax advantage account, and so far the only one that I know that offers this sort of deal. Now, if you're thinking that that's too good to be true, then you are absolutely right, because there are of course some caveats to the HSA. And of course there will be caveats because we can never have life too good as an American. So for example, one caveat is that if you use the money on non-medical related expenses before you're 65, you'll have to pay a penalty tax. But after you're 65, you can use that money for any non-medical expenses you want, but then you do have to pay income tax on the withdrawings. And the other caveat is that there is of course a limit to how much you can contribute to the HSA, and it's in the pretty low thousands per year. Now there is one more caveat, and the reason why I'm not using HSA myself personally, and that's because not everyone is eligible for an HSA. There's a list of requirements that you have to meet in order to be eligible, so just make sure to check that out before you decide to contribute to one. And while the HSA is really good in its tax advantages, probably the best out of any account out there, it still cannot beat that 100% return provided by your employer in the 401k match, which is why you should always maximize your 401k match first. Now the third thing that you should do with your money is you should invest in an IRA. And an IRA is just an individual retirement account. And it's actually really similar to a 401k, but it's like it sounds, an individual one where you manage it yourself. Just like the 401k, there is the traditional IRA and there is the Roth IRA. And just like the 401k, they operate pretty similarly, where one would be pre-tax money, one would be post-tax money, and one of them earnings can grow tax-free, and one of them would be taxed upon withdrawal. I would say that IRAs are for people that are really trying to save aggressively for retirement, like myself, who believes in the FIRE movement, which is financial independence, retire early. But of course, not everyone does believe in that. If you guys just want some more spare cash lying around, then maybe you guys don't want to put that much money into your 401k and your IRA, where the money won't be easily accessible to you until you're near the retirement age of 65. Now, if you're wondering why you should put your money in an IRA versus maxing out your 401k, since we already have some money in our 401k from step 1, and you could just easily max it out to the annual limit, the reason is because the 401ks usually charge higher fees than the IRAs do. So by putting your money in an IRA, you could save money on those fees. And of course, there is a limit for how much money you can contribute to your IRA every year. Just like all tax advantage accounts, the government can't give you too much good stuff all at once. The limit for the IRA is usually $6,000. One thing about IRAs to note is that the government actually does not allow you to contribute to a Roth IRA if your income is too high. So you can only contribute to a traditional IRA. So if you want those tax advantages for when you're pulling your money out and you really want to contribute to a Roth IRA, then I highly suggest that you guys look up what a backdoor IRA is. I won't go over it in depth, but I'll put some links down below so you guys can check it out. But it is a legal way to contribute money to your Roth IRA if you guys make too much money. But that's just an extra step that you guys have to keep in mind, I guess. If you guys do make a lot of money and you want to contribute to a Roth IRA, is that there is an extra step in between before you can just contribute to the Roth IRA. Step 4 would be to max out your 401k. Fees be damned, because 401k is most likely the last of the tax advantage accounts that most people can contribute to, but it is still tax advantage even though it has higher fees than the IRA. So after you max out your IRA, you want to max out your 401k, and this will allow you to take full advantage of all the tax advantage accounts that the government does offer. Step 4 is pretty simple. Just tell your company that you want to increase your contribution limit, and it will automatically be deducted from your paycheck, and eventually you will max out your 401k. After you've done step 4, the world is your oyster. You are now saving so much money. You will be so rich. In 40 years when you retire, you will come back to this channel and you will leave likes. You will subscribe, everything, the full 9 yards. You'll be so grateful to me for all this healthy advice that helped get you to where you are. But no, seriously, after step 5, the world is your oyster. You can do what you want with the rest of the money that you're making. Go spend it, save it, whatever you want to do. I personally put it in a mutual fund just so I can track the economic progress of the United States. Because when stocks go up and to the right, those funds should go up and to the right. Yeah. That's it for today's video. Those are all my tips on how to save the most out of your money from your salary and really take advantage of those tax advantage accounts that the government does provide, so you can prevent as much of your money from going to Uncle Sam as possible. Comment down below on which of these power money moves you're already making. Honestly, I feel like nobody even watches until this part of the video, so if you made it this far, then thank you. I really appreciate it. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram and comment hee down below or something, and I'll Venmo you $5 if you're first. This is going to be really awkward if the first person to win this does something like a year. No one has watched till the very end of the video for over a year or something. But anyways, just do it. Yeah, hope you guys win. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week.